Once you've found the tree where you're going to put your stand, first step is to unload the stand from the transport position. In order to do that, you release the ratchet straps on this side of the stand, come to the opposite side, and release the hooks on the opposite side. The straps are retractable, so they'll snap back into position. Step 2 is to unload the stand from its transport position now that the straps have been removed. In order to do that, gently push on the sides of the stand, opening it up, while one person reaches in and gets the first piece from the inside of the stand. This will usually be your seats. So the seats go off to the side. And put off out of the way. The next piece that comes out are your ladder sections, and they're removed easily from that transport position. The last pieces that come out are your main platform floor pieces. These are simple to pull out. Just remove and set them off to the side. The next piece to be removed are your transport blocks. Once the blocks are removed, the wheel assembly will be removed now. In order to do this, the 2 pins holding the wheel assembly to the base will be unpinned and slide out. Once the pins are removed, you remove the transport base by lifting up on the base itself from the wheel assembly, removing the wheels. Once the wheels have been removed, the next step is to assemble your biters to the base. In order to do that, you take your lower biter and place it into the lower position, like so. The lower biter is assembled with 2 wire locking pins, 1 on each side. The lower biter is also adjustable, so there's a range of positions that this biter can be set in. At first, when you're setting it up, you want it in the furthest position away, and it pins in. The wire locking rings to the bottom of the base, like so. Now you're ready for the upper biter assembly to be put on the stand. This goes on from underside to the top. It's held together with 4 wire locking pins, and the wire locking pins are pinned in again with the wire locking ring to the bottom of the stand. And this is because if you put it to the top, it will interfere with the floor platform seating correctly on the stand. For hunting at the 6-foot level, the 360 is now ready to be attached to the tree. And in order to do this, you simply lift up the base like you would any other ladder stand, attach it to the tree, and make sure that you have a level floor platform. If it's not level, you adjust the bottom outward to make sure the adjust is there. If your lower biter is not against the tree bark, then you simply remove your pins on the side, slide it into a new position to where it reaches the next hole in the track system, and replace the pins into that position. Your 360 tree stand comes with 2 retractable ratchet straps. Both of these ratchet straps are already mounted on the stand, and once it's placed up against the tree, your top ratchet strap is pulled loose and wrapped around the tree through the inner side of the base, not around the outside, and hooked on the opposite side hook. Make sure the line is nice and level and snug against the tree, Once that's done, you tighten down the strap on this side. The next step is to firmly plant your feet on the ladder and tighten the ratchet strap down until it is snug against the tree and locked in by placing it against the frame itself. This is only for a 6-foot level setup. For a 12 or 17-foot setup, the procedures are going to be slightly different because you're going to be using a safety harness and safety line. Your bottom ratchet strap will not be tightened against the tree at this point. This assembly will come in once the secondary floor platform piece is placed onto the base. This strap will run through your cantilever arms, tying them into the tree and adding that extra securement on the biters of the tree. The first piece that goes onto the base is your entry floor platform piece. This is the side with the cage door on it. At the 6-foot level, this piece can be assembled with 2 persons on either side of the tree. You simply lift up on either side, placing the floor platform piece on its rails with the outer rails on either side, like so. Once your primary floor piece is on the base, make sure that it is correctly lined up with the center of the tree. The reason being, once that secondary floor piece is added to the base, you're going to make sure that your cantilever arms are centered on the tree. If this piece is not centered, your cantilever arms will not be centered and it will not go on correctly. So this is a critical position point. Once this is done, once you're satisfied that this position is the right position, you simply place your pins into their position. These locking pins are 2 on each side and they're marked with red shrink wrap in order to designate them as critical pins to the assembly of this platform. These pins have to be in position in order for you to climb on the stand. If they are not in position, do not enter this stand. The next step in the assembly of the stand is to take your secondary floor platform piece and add your cantilever arms to that position. In order to do that, this requires the 3 cantilever arms that come with the stand and 2 pins per arm. The cantilever arms, as you see here, are pinned into position with 2 wire locking pins. This one has already been pinned into position. As you can see, the movement of the cantilever arm. It is important that the pins are swung into a position where the wire locking mechanism is not interfering with the bar coming up and down on its track. The simple way to do that is to place the pin into position and place the locking pin into that position, like so. The next step in the installation process, once the cantilever arms are placed onto the secondary floor platform piece, is to install the floor platform piece into position. In order to do that, you're going to need 2 people, 1 on either side at the 6-foot level, to pick up the platform and place it into position. Once it's standing in position, on either side of that floor platform piece are 2 U-channel locks, which we will show you. These locks interlock the secondary and primary floor platform pieces together in order to hold a tight bond to the base. Lifting the floor platform piece into position, lift up on either end, using one of the cantilever arms on either side as a propulsion technique. Pick it up, make sure it's lined up correctly with each edge, and lower it down into position. Once that's lowered into position, you will snug the cantilever arms against the tree, making sure they are centered up with the tree. Once that's done, the second ratchet strap will come through the center of these cantilever arms, like so, and be placed onto the hook. The secondary person will now tighten the ratchet strap down, making sure these cantilever arms stay centered on the tree. Once we're sure they're centered, you will snug it down, and the 360 6-foot level is fully installed. Okay, this is the setup for the 360 in the 12 to 18 foot mode. First of all, you've taken all the items out of the base transport position, so you have everything off to the side. In the normal 6-foot stand, you have a footer piece that attaches with 2 pins with wire locking mechanisms on them. These pins will be removed for the 18 and the 12-foot setup, and that footer piece will be sliding out. This is to attach your 2 ladder sections that's going to take you up to the 12 and the 17-foot levels. We ready? Yep. Here we go. Tally ho. The next attachment is your ladder anchor brace. This is going to keep your ladder from bowing in and out as you're going up and down the ladder, keeping things safe and silent as well. And the way to attach this is you have a corkscrew end here. This, with a little force, goes into the tree, and you simply turn it until it digs into the tree. Doesn't take much force at all. The anchor brace is corkscrewed into the tree. Now you'll take your pin, slide it out to the distance that you need in order to secure it back to the ladder itself, run your pin through, and attach it to the ladder. Once this pin is attached, then you're going to take your second pin, and with a slight bit of pressure, aligning it to the holes, you will slide your second pin in. This attaches to the ladder firmly to the tree, and as you can see, it's not going anywhere. Okay, so now you're at the 17-foot level. You have attached your top ratchet strap to the tree, and the base is now firmly locked onto the tree. You have your lifeline secure. Now you're going to go back down the ladder and pick up the pulley, which will enable you to bring the platform pieces up into position. So now you have the pulley, which will attach above the ladder, approximately 4 feet above the ladder. You swing the extended piece out, around, hooking it to the opposite side. Cinching it nice and tight to the tree. So now your floor platform will be ready to be brought up. Okay, once your pulley is set up, the rope is run through, you have a person on the opposite end of the rope to pull your floor platform piece up. You will attach it to the first platform piece, which has the cage door, making sure the cage door is pinned in position. That's to keep it from opening up while you're trying to maneuver it into position, causing an injury. Once you give the go-ahead to the guy on the rope, he starts to apply pressure, pulling the rope, and you're guiding the platform piece into position as you go up the ladder. All right, lower the pressure, lower the pressure, lower, lower. Okay. Now, the floor platform is in position on the base. Your next step is to use your 4 locking pins that are colored with red to make sure it's in position. Before that's done, again, just like with the 6-foot section, you have to make sure that your platform piece is centered on the tree for the cantilever arm operation properly. So you'll swing out, observe if it's centered. If it appears centered, you'll guide it into position with help from the man on the floor. Good. And you'll slide your locking pins in. Once these pins are in position, you're able to now take the pin from the door and open the cage door. It is now safe for you to enter this floor platform to attach the other piece. Now it's time to move the pulley to the opposite side of the tree so you can attach the secondary floor platform piece into position to bring it up as well. In order to do that, you push the red lever on the pulley, releasing the tension, removing the pulley from this side to the opposite side of the tree, making sure it's fully secured, applying the tension back on the tree and tightening it down. Pulley's now into position and ready to accept the secondary floor platform piece. Slide the rope down and hook it up. Make sure before removing the secondary piece into position that the cantilever arms are facing away from you, away from the tree. That way when it's brought up on the platform, they will go down into position smoothly. Go ahead and bring it up. All right, guiding it into position, making sure the U-channels are firmly underneath this first primary piece. Is now ready to reduce the tension in it and to lock it into position as such. Your secondary floor platform piece is now into position. The cantilever arms will be swung into their position on the tree, centered directly on each side of the tree, and your second person will now come up the ladder, run the strap through the cantilever arms on the side, while you reach down through the back side and run it through the opposite cantilever arm. Your secondary person will now reach across and pull it through that other cantilever arm and hooking it into position. The strap can now be tightened.
And it's done.
The stand is now ready to be used. Your pulley can now be used for bringing up your gear, your weapon, or whatever you want to use it for. You can take it down out of position now, or you can place it above, higher, and out of your way. It's totally up to you what you want to use this pulley for now. Once your stand has been assembled and placed on the tree properly, you can have the option of installing the gun rails to the stand. To do that, you have 4 main pieces. They slide into the locking channels as such around the stand. Once these secondary pieces are placed in their position and lined up with the holes, they can be pinned into position as well. On the gun rail assembly, you have the locking pins in position, and you have your thumb screws on either side of the main pieces. Do not tighten down the thumb screws until every piece of the secondary and main gun rail systems are in place and pinned in. This will give you the distance that you need in order to have these pins slide in easily. If you tighten the thumb screws down beforehand, you're going to have problems putting your pins into position. Once the pins are in, then tighten your thumb screws down on the rail itself and at the bottoms of the rails. Your gun rail is now assembled. Once your gun rail is on, now you install your seat pedestals. These screw into the positions, the 4 locking positions on the stand itself. All you do is place it into the hole and simply turn until it's locked into position. That seat position is now locked. Once your seat pedestal is in position, you take your seat bottom, which has the top half of a locking swivel system. This has a little quick release on it in order to release it from its pedestal position or to lock it into position. You simply turn it on its bottom, slide it into position. It is now locked and swivels freely.